There we go. It just cut out. Sorry. Hello.
It's all good. I just said I didn't know if I pronounced it right. I just asked you like 20 seconds ago, and then I'm like, shit. But at any rate,
Ostrom. Ostrom. Haley
Ostrom.
Ostrom.
Thank you for jumping on here, Haley.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, this has been kind of a long time coming here now. I mean, I feel like uh,
Yeah.
when we did the Ian Happ interview, which he's obviously with Bettinardi, you're with Bettinardi Golf. It kind of made sense to do this, but nailing down your schedule, nailing down our schedule is always a feat. But we're happy to be here.
Yeah, I think we've been trying to plan this for like 3 months.
No kidding. I know.
And it's here. We're here. I'll tell you this much. You're living in Scottsdale, Arizona right now, right?
I am, yes.
What's the temperature like out there? Because right here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, it is cold today.
It is 97 degrees right now.
I'll trade you.
I don't know. It's hot. I had to do a run this morning and it was already 85 degrees when I started, and I'm like, it's just honestly not that fun.
So let's talk about that. You had to do a run. Is that just like normal routine? You work out, or were you actually forced to run? You just had to do it for yourself.
Yeah, somebody held a gun to my head and I had to run. No,
I should probably
I
get that
have,
person.
yeah, I have like a trainer and a whole program, and I've been so bad about it lately because I've been on this program for a while now, like at least a year, I think, and I'm just bored of it. I'm supposed to run 3 days a week, and but lately I've been adding Pilates in, and so I'm just like, "Ah, I don't have to run today because I did Pilates, and the other
There you
two
go.
days I have to lift. So I just I have
S-
to because I want to, but
I I should let you two just talk, and I'll remove myself for 15 minutes or so because that's all he does is work out too. He does it twice. He's got to go to the gym. He runs, blah blah blah, and so
It it's so good mentally,
yeah.
and people don't get it. It's kind of a esoteric activity, right? Like only a few people really understand it, but I do. You do.
Yeah, I mean, I
I don't.
hate it when I'm doing it. I hate it before I do it. I don't want to do it, but then I just go do it and suck it up, and then you feel so much better the rest of the day.
Amen. So you running in some Hokas, or what are you wearing? Brooks.
What am I running in right now? Yes. I got them. They were gifted to me at like a Michelob Ultra gifting suite, and they're now my new favorite shoes. So I used to just run in Nikes, and I will never go back because it makes such
Yeah.
a big difference.
Yeah, I'm with you.
They're good to wear on the couch too.
I'm sure
Oh
they
shit.
are.
Yeah, we should not go down this rabbit hole because we could talk about that, and my man's gonna be left out in the dark. He's gonna have FOMO. So we won't do that. Um, but at any rate, awesome. It's been, again, just getting you on here and seeing kind of what you've done with your career outside of golf. But we can hone it back and pull it into the golf segment a little bit. Bend, Oregon. Pep, you ever been to Bend, Oregon, bud?
I never have been, but I know you've been there.
I mean, the only blockbuster left in America is in Bend, Oregon, and it's wild. It's kind of nostalgic.
It is, yeah. Bend is honestly, it's such a beautiful place that I think it used to be a little secret place that no one knew about. And if you've been there, you love it, but a lot of people didn't know of it. And now the secret's out. And so everyone knows, everyone from California is moving there. It's way overpopulated now, but it's still amazing. I'm actually going there tomorrow.
Oh man! So you fly into Redmond?
Yeah, well, technically I'm driving, so I
Okay,
actually am flying to Salt Lake first, and then Louie and I are going to drive to Bend. So
that's
it's a
awesome.
long journey. Yeah,
Yeah,
How long of a drive
that's
is that?
I think it's 9 hours. I
That's not
think.
terrible.
If I drove from here, it's like a
Oh,
lot, like
that's
16.
that's miserable from Arizona.
And I've done it many times.
Good for you on that one.
yeah, yeah. I pass on the drive, but I mean, you
Well,
know
isn't
what?
Yeah.
Pronghorn in Bend, Oregon?
Yeah,
It
buddy.
is, yeah. It's like a golf mecca. It really is. It's so underrated for golf courses. I think if people have been there, they know it's like the best golf you can find. But as far as the golf community is concerned, I feel like a lot of people don't realize how many amazing courses we have. I grew up really lucky. I didn't realize it until I left. Although I came to Arizona and I'm like, oh, we still have a golf course on every single corner. So two
Yeah,
golf meccas, really.
yeah, you're in the mix.
That's
Hmm.
all I hear about from him. He gives a pronghorn every year and how good it is, the vibe and everything. I was reading up on you a little bit, and it seems like your love for the game of golf started like high school, right, or a little bit before that. Your dad was
Yeah.
involved in the Golf Association of Oregon, right?
Yeah, my dad took over COJA, which is Central Oregon Golf Association, and then when I was 9, I started playing in tournaments in the summertime for COJA. So every Monday you will have a tournament. You play against kids roughly your own age, and then yeah, you just kind of learn about golf. You learn like the rules and the integrity of it. It's a really great organization for kids because it teaches you everything you need to know besides how to swing a golf club, but it gets you like involved with other kids in the community who are playing golf as well because there's not a ton, especially for women. So once I got to a certain age in Bend, there's only a handful of girls. Everyone kind of like quits at some point. Their parents stop forcing them to play golf, and
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I played in high school and then went off to college. And I would say I didn't fall in love with golf until college.
It is something that you have to fall in love with because if you're kind of in and out, it's like running, right? If you love running, you're gonna go do it. If you love golf, there is nothing like a love for the game of golf. I mean, we just came off of a golf trip and we're leaving for another one tomorrow. Got back yesterday. So you have to love what you're doing in anything in life, though.
Yeah. Well, plus it was like I was growing up, I feel like it was something that kind of came natural, so I didn't have to practice all the time in order to win some tournaments. And then once I got into high school, it just was the option for me to go to college was to play golf. But I wouldn't say I loved it, especially in Bend when our season is in the spring. It would be snowing still. There was snow on the ground. So golf practice sucked. Like it was not
Yeah,
fun. And it's hard to love something when you are just freezing cold. You hit a thin shot and your hands are just like hurting because it's just so cold. So yeah, I would say college was definitely when I decided, oh, you know what, practice is actually really fun when it's not 2 degrees outside. And I chose to practice more than I needed to because I loved it.
Mhm.
And what college did you go to? Is Fox in it or something?
Yeah, George Fox University. It's in Newberg, Oregon, which is just outside of Portland.
So, were you an Oregon State or an Oregon fan? Ducks or
Ducks.
the Beavers? Gotcha.
Go Ducks,
Because
yes.
that's one thing.
Although my brother ended up going to Oregon State, so he's a traitor, but that's okay.
Damn, brother.
Yeah.
That's, and I'm sure that's colloquial to any college town or state in that regard. But it's funny when I'm in Oregon, it is always during football season in September, and you either are the Ducks or Beavers, no in between. You're set on it. So last year, I know that I was with a couple guys, and one was one way, one was the other way. Sounds kind of weird. That's the way it was, and it's like these guys want to like kill each other, man. Like they're yelling, screaming, but I like it. I like the rivalry. But I just wanted to ask your position on that. Um, I tell you what, Oregon has the best uniforms in all of sports.
Oh,
Hands down.
it's
Nobody can
insane.
argue with it. And
N-
Louis, his whole family's a huge Ohio State fan. The Ohio State, they'll say.
The
And
Ohio
the
State.
I cannot stand it. And it used to drive me nuts. Now I'm like, all right, I guess I can get on board, whatever. But they
well,
try and say that their uniforms are better. And I'm like, just because they're traditional uniforms does not make them better. They are the
No.
same old thing that they have every year, and that is lame if you ask me.
I
Oregon for sure.
Oregon. I don't think Oregon's ever worn the same uniform twice,
No, we've
and that's
got Uncle
so
Phil.
sick.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got Uncle
right.
Phil is sitting there just.
Yeah,
Uh,
The Ohio State University. They do
so
say it like that. It's like,
yeah,
Louis, your fiance, correct?
yeah, correct. Yeah,
Congratulations. So now
thank
you got a
you.
wedding you got to plan,
Yeah.
or maybe he'll plan it for you. But is he from
No.
Ohio? Where's he from?
Yeah, he's from Belle Fountain, Ohio, which is a tiny town in Ohio. But he went to school when he was 13. He went to boarding school for snowboarding in Vermont. So he really he only grew up there for a really short period of time. And
mm,
then he lives in Utah now and here. We just go back and forth.
Talk about finding a perfect match for you because in winter, well, I guess in Scottsdale you can still golf. Never mind. But the point being is,
Scottsdale is
I
12 months
know.
a year of golf, but
It's true. Everyone always says that. They're like, oh, it's perfect because you guys are the opposites. We are definitely opposite as far as sports, but season wise, like his season's pretty much all year. Like we're leaving to Oregon for him for his camp this summer. And then if he doesn't have snowboarding in the US, he goes somewhere else to snowboard, like in Switzerland or something. And then for golf, we're really playing all year round as well. So
yeah,
once you get to the professional level, there really isn't an off season. Like, there's just not.
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I, were you saying something,
no,
Pep?
I forgot what I was going to say.
I noticed you were starting to say something, and then you like stopped, and I'm like,
Well, yeah,
um, does he golf?
that's
Kind of
what I was
has
going to
to.
say.
He does. I tried to teach him golf and he tried to teach me snowboarding. That lasted about a day
Yeah.
before
Uh
we
huh.
were like, this is never going to work. And we're both so competitive, like to the point where we get in fights when we're playing games, or like he gets mad because if I get out in a game, I'm rooting for other people to beat him because we're like not on the same team or whatever. Like if I'm not gonna win, I don't want him to win, which is so bad, but it's true. So when we were teaching each other our sport, it was not working. So I hired my golf coach to give him lessons, and then he hired somebody to give me snowboarding lessons.
That's kind of the way I hear, when you're trying to give a spouse or someone like that lessons, it's a lot easier to let someone else give them golf lessons. Because you could be
Oh,
like,
for sure.
you're trying to convey to them what you kind of feel at that point in the golf swing, getting on this side, dropping it here. And they're like
Yeah.
looking at you like you got five heads.
See, that's why I'm
Yeah.
terrible at it. I'm terrible. I can't. To my wife, it's like I know what to do. I know what to do, and it frustrates me that you can't do like get in the
Exactly.
position that I want you to be in.
That's exactly how I feel. And so I'll get frustrated because I'm telling Louis something and I'm like, you're not listening to me. You didn't do what I just told you to do. And he's like, yeah, I tried. And I use this all the time. I'm like, you are a two-time Olympic athlete. Figure it out. Like, how can you
Yeah.
not do this? This is just a basic thing. So, yeah, at that point, it was just not happening. And then when he's teaching me snowboarding, he's using language that I don't even know, but he forgets that I don't know, or he thinks it's an obvious thing where I'm like, no, that's
Yeah.
not obvious. And so he's telling me, I remember one time I asked him this question, just curious, like he's in the half pipe, and I said, so when you go in the half pipe, do you transition? Like, which side are you on, your heel side or your toe side? And he's like, okay, so if you think about the half pipe, it's at like this degree angle, and then the mountain's at like this degree angle. Da, 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 da. And he goes on, and I'm just sitting there like, why did I even ask?
So
And
are
I
you
said,
on the
never
heel or the
mind.
toe, bud?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, never
You
mind.
still haven't answered what I was asking you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's so
That's funny.
frustrating when we try to teach each other, but
Cross. Yeah. Um, so you're professional now, or you have been for years.
Mhm.
When did you turn pro?
2018, I believe, I turned pro. So I moved here right before 2017, like the end of 2016. I started competing on the Cactus Tour as an amateur. Basically, the difference is you pay less on your entry fees, but if you were to win a check, you can't accept the check. So I stayed amateur just to save a little bit of money while I was like learning the ropes of professional golf. And then I actually was forced. It's funny because people on social media, especially, like, oh, you're not a real pro, like, you're not a professional golfer, da 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 da. I actually had to turn pro because I got a call from the USGA saying that someone turned me in because I was getting paid by Nike and some sponsors that had picked me up from my social media. And you can only accept a certain amount of money. So they're like, hey, we're going to need you to turn pro or you have to get rid of these sponsors. And I was like, oh, okay. So that day I turned pro and I entered into the next tournament as a professional. So from that moment on, you're a professional golfer unless you go petition to get your amateur status back.
And that's all changed so much now over the last 5, 6 years. I mean, like that. I think that's all been thrown out the window with this NIL deal in college, and I mean, you got 18-year-olds making millions of dollars in college.
Yeah, I don't even know how it works anymore because obviously it was so different for me when I was in college and even when I turned professional. So it's completely different now. People ask me that all the time about college athletes, and I'm like, I don't know how it works. I have no idea. I still don't think you can accept earnings. Like, if you win money, I don't think you can accept that if you're an amateur, but you can take on sponsorships.
I mean,
Makes no sense, but and I mean that in the sense of like from their standpoint.
Oh, yeah, no. I wasn't totally for the athletes in college getting paid just because I saw it like from the other perspective, and I don't know. I mean, it's worked out now and those athletes are
Well,
getting paid now, so good for them.
it's a lot like the world we're living in right now with the PGA Tour and the Live Tour. The
Yeah.
Live Tour players are getting paid. The PGA Tour players are not getting paid. They're having to earn their money in the sense of playing to make money. The
Yeah.
Live Tour players got paid before they even put a tee in the ground. So it's a
Yeah.
lot like that.
Yeah, but I was always all for live. So I guess like I don't know.
So you're a
I'm
Live
all
fan.
Yeah, I'm a live fan. From the very beginning, I was like, obviously we need another option in golf if we want to continue to grow the game that's growing rapidly now. We need other options, and I just thought I saw a lot of hypocrisy behind like the political side of things. I'm like, okay, well, the US is doing business with the Saudis since 9/11. Like, the PGA Tour does business with the Saudis. The LPGA Tour does business with the Saudis. So I thought that argument was just hypocritical.
Well, that's my
yeah,
whole issue with this whole thing as of lately, since the PGA Tour has been, taken over with that, is that you're the same people that were saying to these guys, don't take the money.
Yeah.
It's dirty money, this, that, and the other, and now look at you. You're with them. And I wasn't for or against Live Tour. I thought it was good in the sense that they shook the PGA Tour up to be better. They
Yeah.
shook. There was more money in the purses now. There's more this, that, and the other. Now all of a sudden we're all one. After
Yeah.
all that,
yeah,
we're all one.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, would it have been great if it was a US owned business that created Live or whatever and it was owned by the US? Yeah, that would have been great. But they tried that forever ago and the PGA Tour said no and just shut it down instantly. So
I think, look, I think for me, the saddest thing was seeing some of the players leave because I liked watching them. And I wasn't sure, how to adjust to this whole new league, really. Um, the team format, kind of cool. The music part, I'm cool with the chill stuff. And you want to wear shorts, you want to blast the music. I do that anyway, so I'm Gucci with that. That's all good. Um, but the part to me again was just the fact that some of these guys I wasn't going to really watch anymore, so to speak, because I mean, I guess I could get the C dub and like turn that on or sit there on my computer and watch it, but that's not really cool either. Um, so now that it's all kind of coming together, I'm like, this is freaking great. Like, this is great.
yeah. No, I
Um,
think it's perfect that it came back together. I think everybody wins in the end, except for those who didn't take the money. I guess they kind of missed out because they said no early on. But honestly, I got to go to two of the live tournaments and play in the pro-am. So I was able to talk to a lot of the players that came from the PGA Tour, and it was crazy to hear their stories of like,
mhm.
I tried to reach out to the tour and I tried to get a meeting. I wanted to talk to them. I was given this offer, and before I left, I tried multiple times to discuss like, these are the changes I think we should make. And the tour said, nope. And if you leave, like, here's what's going to happen. And they basically just didn't take a meeting. They just sent an email back saying no, and if you
Yeah, if you,
leave, you're going to be punished. And
yeah,
that was it. So it's kind of sad the way that they were all treated, especially when a lot of those guys were big names on the tour, and the tour just tried to call their bluff, but it didn't work.
Mm.
well, you saw the news today. Jay Monahan took a leave of absence or medical leave, stepped
Yeah.
down.
Something happened to him, I guess. But
I mean, buddy, he's got to be right now. His mind's probably just like, I don't know how he sleeps at night.
I'm
You know?
surprised he was able to stay on for so long after the decisions and everything that was said. I think in the end, it would just be a bad look for the PGA Tour after
Totally.
everything he said, and I
mm.
don't know how they would do it. So I hope he doesn't have a medical issue going on, but I
We'll see.
yeah.
So, what live events did you participate in the pro am? Where were they?
Bedminster and what was the other one called? Boston.
How was the pro am? I'm asking you this because I signed up for the pro am at the Greenbrier in August, and I got in. I mean, I did this back in January, and then I get this email last week that says you've been accepted. Blah 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 blah, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play. So how was it? I mean, was it anything
The
different?
most fun tournament I've ever played in. That was so the first one was the New Jersey event. It was like I honestly beforehand I didn't know what I was going for. Like they hit me up on social media, asked if I would want to go. I was like, yeah, cool, whatever. Didn't know anything, and Louis was the one that's like, you should definitely go. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go, but and he's so excited, and I'm like, I don't know, I'll probably just be in a group with a bunch of like, honestly, I thought it would be with some of the Saudi guys that are like funding it, and I was just gonna be like hanging out with them. So I was like, yeah, cool, whatever, like that'll be fun, I guess. And I'm told like there's a pairings party, whatever. So I get to the pairings party. I'm by myself. Like my agent doesn't go, Louis couldn't go. So I show up alone and I walk in. It's in New York, like this really cool building. What was it called? Like Gotham Building or something. And it looks like it would be called Gotham Building. There's security everywhere. And I am wearing like a nice dress with Jordans because I didn't know what I was walking into. No, this place was so fancy. I'm wearing J's and I'm like, this is embarrassing. And I'm walking around by myself. I walk in, there's Brooks Koepka right in front of me. Here's Ian Poulter over here. And it's like so fancy. And I was thinking, like, I know who these people are, but they don't know who I am, most
Right.
likely. So I just start walking around and next thing I sat down and this woman next to me is sitting there and she ends up being like the wife of the USGA guy who left USGA to come to live, and he's like running all the courses and everything. And I'm just chatting with her and she goes, "Oh, you're the girl playing in the pro-am. You're playing with Caitlin." And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm not sure who I'm playing with. I missed the pairings part. My flight was late. Like I have no idea." And she goes, "Yeah, you're playing with Caitlin." I'm like, Caitlyn who?
Caitlin.
Am I supposed to know who that is? She's like, Caitlyn Jenner. She's right
No.
behind you. And I turn around, Caitlyn is sitting at a table behind me. And I'm like, no, I'm not playing with her. Like, I don't think I'm playing with her. And I end up like finding the pairings list. And sure enough, I was playing with Caitlyn Jenner, Ian Poulter, and Pat Casey. Like, just
What?
so crazy. did I say Pat Casey? Paul Casey.
Paul
What's his
Casey.
name? Paul.
Yeah.
Pat Casey is a coach in baseball. Anyways,
Yeah.
so yeah, I was just absolutely shocked, couldn't believe it, and was so outside of my element in this place. And then next thing you know, Trump comes walking in
Oh
and
dear
he
Lord.
has all his security around. No wonder that's why it wasn't just security, it was Secret Service all
Yeah.
over the place. And I just like wave and he gives me the thumbs up and I'm like, this is insane. So, needless to say, I was like, I think I walked in, I instantly grabbed a drink because I'm like nervous and by myself. I'm just don't know what I'm doing. And it was the most fun night. And then the next day was the tournament and it was even better. I couldn't have asked for like a cooler event. And the people I got to meet, like to me, that's super cool to be walking on the driving range and hitting next to the PGA, not PGA, but the professional golfers that I have grown up like watching. So
So
Ian Poulter was amazing too. He's so funny, it's so nice. I had
That's
so
great
much
to
fun
hear
with
because
him.
some people say that he kind of rubs some people the wrong way, and generally speaking, those are the people who've never met him before. So that's good to hear that Ian Poulter was fun and cool to hang out with.
Yeah, his family was out there, so his son, we were joking with him. His son's probably like 9 or 10, I don't know at the time, and he like was typical little boy, like you know how they make fun of you to flirt or whatever? And so Ian kept saying like, "Oh, I think you might have a crush on Haley." And then he'd get all embarrassed and walk away. And I'm like, "That's my little boyfriend over there."
yeah.
But no, it was so fun. And Ian like asked if we could film this video for Instagram, where I'm like, "Hell yeah, we can film a video for
Yeah.
Instagram."
Like, let's go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
So you kind of got me a little excited right now because so essentially I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna be nervous as shit, and everyone's pretty lax and chill. So
yeah,
that's
I
kind
will
of
say that was a very different event than the other one I went to. So that was like the coolest thing ever, the best day, so much fun. The next one was really fun. I got to play with Harold Varner,
Varner.
and that was like super fun to hang out with him. But the event itself was way more low key. I think the other one was so like cool because it was Trump's course.
Yeah,
He was coming. Like I got to go meet him on the court on the driving range that morning. I like walked up and shook his hand, and
that's so
that
awesome.
was really embarrassing. Also, I do a lot of embarrassing things, I think, and I
I don't
shouldn't
know.
be allowed to go do some of these things because I just show up and then I do something stupid and I'm like, oh God, like I should leave.
But you
I
keep
shouldn't
getting
be here.
invited back, so I mean,
I keep
it
getting
can't be
invited
that
back.
bad.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know why, but
So do you run your social handle or do you have someone running it, or is that you?
no, I run everything, but I have someone that helps me on YouTube because
I
that
got you.
is just a whole other beast. But yeah, I do all my other social.
I mean, because you got 500,000 followers. That's pretty substantial.
A little
Um,
more, but
yeah, whatever it is. Um, okay, funny story, real quick, before we transition this story a little bit. But so it's kind of like you, like you're on a different level than us. Like you actually, are getting paid, doing big things, getting people to invite you places. And 5 or 10 years ago, maybe you never thought that would have happened. Jonathan and I, we're old. We're kind of old. We do this as a hobby. We have our own careers, and this podcast is now 2 years old, and we've had a phenomenal time doing this. My point to that is kind of like you, it connects you with people that you probably thought you would never meet in your life, and now they're kind of in your circle a little bit, or at least a close acquaintance. That's how it's been for us with, guys in the NHL, MLB, country music scene. This is what this has done for us, and it's formed new relationships. So we were playing this past weekend at the Greenbrier, and two of our guests, one is a former guest of the show, James Wisniewski, and John Barry, they both live in LA and play at Sherwood Country Club. And Kendall Jenner, or not Kendall Jenner, Christ, what's the
Caitlin.
Caitlin.
Caitlin. She's a member there,
That kind of shit.
but they say she is like super cool. Like just
Super cool.
yeah,
Very laid back. Like that's the kind of person that if you said he, I don't think that she would really care.
yeah,
Like I don't think it
yeah,
would be that big of a deal.
yeah.
No,
That's kind of
super nice. And honestly, I was pretty nervous to play with her because I've always watched the Kardashians, like most girls. And so, like, I kind of grew up with them in my house. And yeah, so I went up to her before we started playing, and I was worried that I might accidentally say he. And I
right.
hadn't ever really said Caitlyn Jenner. I'd always said Bruce Jenner. So I was like, shit, this is gonna be so awkward. And before the round, I just walked up and introduced myself. I said, "We're playing together today." And was she was so nice. Was like, "Oh, that's great." Da 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 da, whatever. She played from the men's tees. I know everyone wants to know that. She played from the same tees as the pros, or the I guess they were playing from the tips. She played from the blue, the men's.
Mm.
And I got to play from the front, so I was happy. But she was like awesome, making jokes all day, telling stories. She was like making fun of herself with the
See, that's awesome.
transgender stuff.
That's awesome.
She would walk up to me and put her arm around me, and she's massive, right? Like so
Yeah,
tall, and I'm 5'3", so she would put her arm around me and be like, "Oh, this is my babe. This is like my favorite babe right here. Like we're just the two girls, the cis girl and the trans girl," and would like walk with me down the fairway. And then afterwards, she was like, "I had so much fun with you. You can really hit the ball. If you're ever in town, let me know. I want to play with you." And like gave me her phone number and got my phone number.
That's
And
awesome.
it was the coolest moment of my life.
Well, and
yeah.
that's the thing too. People like that
See,
that make you feel comfortable. It's like you have a new outlook on them, right? It's because
Oh, yeah.
in reality, she doesn't have to say anything to you or be cool to you or do
Yeah.
anything. But that's how you can really tell a lot about people. And I think that's why the game of golf is so incredible. The people that you meet, the people you hang out with, you know what I mean? There's no other sport that you can do that in. You're not
No,
gonna go play a
golf.
pickup baseball game and
Yeah.
Caitlyn Jenner shows up,
Yeah,
right?
golf is so, people always say like you need to know how to play golf for business wise, but honestly, just being a female golfer, I think it's definitely given me so many opportunities. But when I show up to events like that, there's no doubt in my mind, like I'll be able to go out and play with anybody there. I held my own against the pros. Like I can go out and impress Caitlyn Jenner, and it's because I've played golf my whole life, and people don't expect women. When you see a woman walk up in your group, you're like, "Oh, here we go. This might be a long day," but then you can
yeah,
just prove them wrong.
yeah.
With
Which is
go ahead, Bash.
no. Go ahead, bud. Go ahead, bud.
I was gonna say with all this, they got to hold you on social media. What would you say the best and worst thing about social media for someone like yourself is?
The best is for sure like the people that you can reach. There's so many. When I wanted to play professionally at the highest level, I wanted to make it to the LPGA Tour, which is no longer my dream. It was because I'll be able to reach all these people, I'll be able to help grow the game, and I loved competition. But now, once I started doing social media, it's like I'm reaching way more people than I ever would have if I made the tour and was playing on TV every week, where the ratings are crap. And like I can communicate with, I'll have parents that message me and say, "My daughter loves watching your stuff. Like you've been such an inspiration," and blah blah blah, which is amazing. It's the best thing for me. And being able to kind of keep that at the back of my mind, I purposely keep my page a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
because I know I have young followers, or I have parents who show their kids my stuff. Like I want to be a good role model for them. But the worst thing I would say, it's not really like the bad messages or anything, because I just kind of like laugh those off. Some of them I come up with some pretty funny comebacks, I think, or I just say, "Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. My game does suck nowadays. Like, you're not wrong." I would just say that probably the misunderstanding. Like a lot of people, they think a certain thing because they see me on social media, and it's not true. So they just make a opinion of me before they really
Hmm.
know the full story. But at the same time, that's just life in general. So I don't really mind that either.
Social
Yeah.
media is a wild, wild game. I mean, it is
Hmm.
insane what you can accomplish on social media.
But I think personally too, it's also taxing. Like from a standpoint of it's a world that you constantly have to be involved in or put something out and or feel like, not maybe you have to, but you got to feel like you have to. I don't know if
You
that
Yeah.
can
makes
you can
sense.
become so relevant so quickly and so irrelevant so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not constantly in front of that person, you're almost forgotten about.
Yeah, I always thought it was easy because I think it kind of came naturally. It was something that I was good at. Everyone has their thing. Lucky for
Yeah.
me, I'm on social media, I guess. But either
Hey.
way, I liked it and I enjoyed it and I worked hard at it, but I never felt like it was that hard until I realized trying to help Louis with his page or my mom with her business page or whatever, it was so hard for them to get it. And then I realized, like, oh, this isn't easy. This isn't just a simple thing that everybody can do. And if everyone could do it, then there wouldn't be social media influencers because everyone would be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But I realize now, like, I do put in a lot of work for it and I just enjoy it. So it doesn't feel like a
It
lot of
doesn't feel
work.
like work. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you definitely, it's more tasteful. I mean, because you see a lot of stuff, especially in the golf world, of people posting things or, I'm not singling out women, but they try to put stuff up that's cute or whatnot, and it's just like that's not really. It's kind of distasteful in a way. I mean, obviously, it attracts a certain group of audience to that, but it's like I think you have a great way of approaching it with how you display everything,
Well, I
and you're
appreciate that because I've really tried to keep my page a certain way my whole career. To me, it was just I think it's no hate on anybody who chooses to run their page a different way. That's great. Like, make your money, do what you want to do. To me, it just seemed like an easy option. Like, anyone can
yeah
go out and dress scandalously and show off their body a bit more and probably get a certain amount of followers that way. But it's harder to not do that and show off your personality and come up with creative videos and do it that way. I just felt like I would rather, I don't know, do it a
yeah
certain
do it that
way.
way.
I
Yep.
My dad follows me. I could not I'm like not doing
Well,
that.
in reality, you're a brand too, right? And
Yeah.
you yourself, you're a brand, and you want that brand to keep growing. And the only way to grow that brand is do it the right way. So,
It's true. I've worked with major companies like Nike was my first like main company I worked with, and I remember when they reached out, I finally was like, I met them in person actually, just randomly ran into somebody, and they said, I asked them why they chose me and what made them find me, and that was one of their answers was we can't attach our name to someone like so and so
mhm.
who's posting certain things every day that we don't know what they're going to be posting or what stance they're going to take. We can't attach our brand to that. So we need the safer route. Like, and it's funny, Louis actually taught me that too. He quit drinking when he was 23 and doesn't party. He's not known in that scene. And in snowboarding, that's a huge thing. But he basically decided, like, this is how I'm going to set myself apart. And this is why brands are going to want to partner with me
Mhm.
because I'm not in this scene. I'm not doing these things. So I had a lot of major companies. Michelob Ultra was one of them as well that said, we can't partner with people that are doing these things. So
Yeah.
if I want to keep growing, I have to keep my page
A
a little
couple Mick,
PG.
I had a couple Mick Ultras this week, but did you?
That's good.
We drank a bunch of Mick Ultras this week.
Oh my God.
And you can drink a lot and then not feel so bad because they're less calories.
Yeah, they're like just water. I tell you what,
Yeah.
we we've been on a little bit of a spree recently. With we had playing through up at Nemacolin, which is a resort we're partners with here in Southwest PA, 5-star all around, and Cole Swindell, Cole Taylor, Tyler Reeve. Then we had the Chasin Birdies Two-Man event at the Greenbrier. It just finished up recently, and it's like, what do you do when you hang around with guys? I mean, you sit around, crack a cold
Drink.
beer. Yeah, and I am not a big drinker by any stretch. I mean, but Mick Ultras, man, those are tasty. You still running around with the Mick Ultra crew?
I am. I'm still running with them. I hope they're gonna still run with me in the future.
That's right. You need to get a video of you doing a jog with a nice
With a
aluminum
beer.
bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually run with my
Yeah.
Ultra in
Just
hand. Yeah.
chip your teeth and everything else while you're trying to drink it.
Yeah, I just gotta get the cans.
Yeah, the cans. So how did Bettinardi come about with you?
They reached out. I have never worked with Bettinardi before. Um, it was just a very like typical, they went to my agent, he came to me. A lot of my partnerships actually happened way more organic than that, but this one didn't. This They just wanted to work with me. So before we agreed to anything, they sent me a couple putters and a few wedges, and I was supposed to just figure out if I even wanted to partner with them.
Mhm.
I took the clubs out on the course and I could not miss a putt. I was making every single putt. It was the easiest decision of my life. And I have always been a huge ping fan. I love ping. They've given me clubs, but we don't have any partnership really. But I have been offered money from other club companies and turned it down because I loved ping. That's how much, okay, right? I love that so much. But Bettinardi, it was like an obvious, this is such a great club for me. And yeah, it's been great ever since. I'm putting way better than I ever have, and I love their wedges, and I'm very picky on wedges. I usually don't like a lot of wedges.
And they're
Yeah.
good people too. That's the
Hmm.
like on top of it, right? Story Snyder and Sam Bettinardi and all those guys. They're great people to hang out with, and
Yeah.
they make an incredible product. When you can actually
Oh, yeah.
go there and see what they do on site, it's dynamite.
Yeah, I think I'm going this summer actually, to go see their whole place
Oh, it's
and
insane.
get
Yeah.
more like fitted maybe for what I'm already playing. But yeah, I work directly with Sam Bettinardi, and it's really cool. Like to me, that's such a fun partnership when you're working directly with the people and not through a marketing
Hmm.
company. That's great, that's fine, whatever, it works. But when you're just one-on-one texting each other or having conversation like, hey, I'm gonna post this week or
Hmm.
whatever, and you can just chat, or hey, I really want to try this new putter, or I have so many of their putters in my garage because they sent me a few to try to start out with. I picked one, and then like a month later, they're like, well, here's our updated version, and sent me another one. So there's just Bettinardi putters all over my
That's
house,
nice. I can't get
and
one.
you can have one of mine.
I'm just I'm kidding.
So
I'm kidding.
Jonathan, and Sam go back some years. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. So John and Sam were buddies, and I met Sam through Jonathan, and I went up there and did the whole putting experience. Got fitted up. My putter's sweet. It's actually better now because I'm putting lights out, lights out. Um, but it's funny. I'm playing golf with a guy at a club I'm a member out here, Pikewood National, and he's from Minnesota, but he's a member at Butler, and he had a big Bettinardi hat on. I said, "So you big Betty guy?" He's like, "That's all I play." I said, "Oh," I said, "Do you know Sam by chance?" And he's like, "Do I know Sam?" Blah 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 blah. So they're boys, and the next thing you know, I'm in a selfie, looking like, and they're taking a picture, send it to Sam. Uh, Great people though, man. phenomenal. Where do you see that facility?
I'm really excited to go. I think I'm going in August, so I'm stoked. It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah, that's badass, man. Um,
And getting fitted for a putter or for wedges is so different than getting fitted for irons or driver. It's so much more fun, and the technology is just crazy.
yeah, for sure. You wouldn't think that, but I know what it could like a putter. There's a lot to go into it, and Jonathan's living proof. I mean, the guy couldn't hit the hole from 2 feet. Now with his Betty, he's like game over.
Yeah,
Game
well,
over fast.
honestly, when I first got fitted for a putter the very first time, I didn't realize like you can actually get a putter that just works with your flaws in your stroke.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point in my life, like, am I going to really change my stroke that much? Probably not. I'm not
No.
going to fix these things that I've been doing my entire life. And you don't have to. And I've always said that, like, people can putt, people can make putts with an awful stroke as long as they feel comfortable over the ball and they read the break the right way, they can still make putts. So when I first got fitted, they're like, "Oh, you kind of cut like this, but we can get you a putter that does this and it will help offset that
What you
stroke."
do?
And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, cool. Okay."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. That's good stuff. I'm surprised Grayson hasn't hit you up for like to wear their swag. Like you look like a type that athletic wear.
I think they have.
Yeah, I'm sure they have.
I think they
Um,
have, but I don't know what happened with that. That's probably was passed on to my agent and I wasn't involved.
I feel you. I do a lot of the same stuff. Just pass it on to the agent. Let them deal with it.
yeah.
That's like when I don't want to have to
I've never
talk
had that
money.
problem, eh?
Yeah, if you don't want to talk money or you don't want to like be the bad guy, it's like, "Oh, here's my agent," and
Yeah,
then
let
they
them
can just
handle it.
deal with it. Yeah. I mean, that's what you pay them for, I guess.
That's it, girl. I tell you what, we've been on this little bit of a. I mean, we got to. Okay, let me back up here. I personally love Link Soul. Love Link Soul. I love the Ashworth family. Steve Pearing, John Ashworth, Hank. They're like family to me. But we were down at Troubadour a couple weeks ago, and they're selling this Viore stuff now, which you probably heard of, obviously.
Obsessed. Yeah.
And Pep
It's
got a couple
insane.
pieces of it. And he's like, dude, this stuff is so freaking good. So I got a shirt. And I'm like, this is fucking awesome. This is great.
I like
Yeah.
it.
I'm obsessed with it. It's so good, and honestly, I've always complained like a lot of the Nike stuff. I'm like, this was clearly made by a guy. It was not made by a female because we wouldn't put seams in certain places that they're putting seams. That's a guy made that. So the Viore stuff is so good, and it was kind of funny. Louis loved their stuff forever ago, and he was
Mm-hmm.
telling me about this new brand, and he's like, I'm gonna ask him to send me stuff, and they never did. And like months go by, and I get a package, and it was actually sent to his house while I was there, and I'm like, oh, cool, I got this package today. He's like, are you kidding me? And it was from Viore. I'm like,
Yep, there
good.
it
Stuff's
is.
good. I love it. It's great to wear on
Yeah,
the couch.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Or on a run.
Or on a run.
I still wear Lulu all the time though. Like just, especially working out, it's still great. But this stuff is starting to make its way into my wardrobe.
Good
Yeah,
point.
I'm kind of a Lulu hater a little bit. I like it. I like certain things, but then I like don't see the hype in the other stuff, so everyone's like, you're a hater. But
Yeah,
I'm
I know what you're
honest.
saying.
I mean, that's like the Jordan golf shoes. People either love it or hate it. It's
Yeah, that's true. But I think the people who hate it just don't get them. Like,
well, they can't they
Yeah,
don't get them and they can't pull them off or you know what I
yeah,
mean. There's a
yeah,
lot that
exactly.
goes into that.
exactly. Like you gotta like look a certain way to wear them.
Yeah.
Kinda. All right, Haley. So listen, girl, you're chasing birdies in life. We love that. That's what the whole premise of our show is: chasing birdies on the course in life. You're doing your thing. You're kind of an entrepreneur. Well, you are. I mean, you're running your business, doing your thing. Hats off to you. And we are stoked to have you here on the show. We are going to turn this over to our last segment of the show called the Tap In segment presented by Bettinardi Golf. Check them out online at bettinardi.com. Phenomenal putters, as Haley just mentioned. Jonathan's going to ask you 4 questions that demand your quick-witted response here, Hailey. So take it away, bud.
What Bettinardi putter are you using?
That's
The Queen Bee.
That's
Queen
a
Bee. I love it. The gold finish, right?
Yeah,
All right.
it's sick.
Favorite golf destination?
Um, well, I've got to play in France, so that was pretty fun.
You
So
don't hear
I'd
that
probably
too
say
often.
France. Yeah.
All right. Playlist
France.
on the golf course.
Ooh, throwback, like hip hop or country.
Yeah.
We just did that tango, wanted throwback hip hop the whole time. So Dr. Zambos threw it on the whole time.
That's
All right,
good, bud.
last question.
Helped his
What
game
are
out.
you chasing?
What am I chasing? Birdies,
That is so
Why
great.
not, right?
obviously.
I mean, we're all trying to chase them, girl. That's it. But shoot, man, it was awesome having you on, Hailey. I know we don't want to take up too much of your time. I told you 45 minutes or so. We're at 52. Big deal.
Have the agent send the bill, bud.
Yeah, send a bill to Pep. He'll get that squared up. But thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was a fun podcast.